Aiyshwarya Mahadev, Aparajita, Sarangi and Sanjay. Thank you all three of you for joining us. We'll cut across to the Congress spokesperson first. Aiyshwarya Mahadev, somewhere down the line, do you see this as a moral victory? You've been able to keep your flock together, at least for now, is what it all seems to suggest.
You know, Preeti, in a lot of ways, it's not only keeping our flock together. We've seen several instances of people from across the board also coming across and voting for us, as we saw in Karnataka. And, you know, talking about Mr. Maken, let me just point out, and he has also publicly stated that the returning officer during the polling has objected and said there was no sort of showing of votes that are there. And after that rejection, you see that the independent candidate has decided to stall the process and move to the Election Commission. However, all across the board, we see that the Congress is, you know, with the candidates that it's put up, everything looks quite good. I think down south from my home state, it's quite a tight fight. We've seen JDS MLAs voluntarily moving over to vote for us, expressing dissent and dissatisfaction with the JDS leadership. But it all looks to be seen what happens, and the all-powerful second preference vote, I think, is going to see a lot of people sail past. But fingers crossed for a good result, Preeti.
You know, stay with me, Aiyshwarya. I want to bring in Ms. Sarangi as well. You know, Ms. Sarangi, what's interesting is because it's always sometimes election the day where, you know, right when the voting is going on, something or the other crops up. Here, everyone was actually looking at the Congress camp in Rajasthan to see, will there be cross-voting here? Cross-voting did happen, Ms. Sarangi, but it happened from your camp. You want your own MLA disqualified.
A very good evening. The counting is on and we are waiting with bated breath. I think all of us know that. And see, as far as BJP is concerned, BJP is very serious about every election, whichever election, howsoever small the election is. BJP is very serious. BJP does its homework pretty well, and it is all a game of numbers and basically how we keep our flock together and how are we able to, you know, attract people from the other camp. See, it is all politics. There is nothing wrong about it. It is all politics. But I think we should wait for the counting.
Ms. Sarangi, are you giving a politer word to horse trading? How can you extract people from the other camp?
Not at all. Not at all. Whatever phrase you may use. Right. In fact, I would just say that this is politics. And, you know, if a particular person comes to the Bharatiya Janata Party, I think the credit must go to the Bharatiya Janata Party for having that element which has attracted the other person to the party. So I think there's nothing wrong about it.
But Ms. Sarangi, that's the point.
Done our job well.
There's nothing wrong with what you said, but why are you then, Ms. Sarangi, but why are you then protesting MLA Shobha Rani Kushwaha, who's voted for the Congress in Rajasthan?
No, so the point is that there was something which should not have been done. In fact, we have registered a protest and let's see what the EC says. So at this juncture, it is not right on my part to say anything. Let's wait for the counting results. We are keeping our fingers crossed. And as far as the unopposed seats are concerned, as far as NDA is concerned, we already have 17 seats, 14 BJP and 17 if we look at NDA. And this side also, whatever the calculations that we had done, I think we would be doing good.
Well, yes, but you had queered the pitch, especially in 2 states, by putting up an extra candidate as an independent backed by you. But I want to bring in Sanjay now into this conversation. You know, Sanjay, for somebody who's now on the outside, who's following things closely, do you see this time around at least the opposition holding it together and that entire money power that was so spoken of in the last few days, at least for now, being defeated?
Well, Preeti, let's be honest. You know, when you see pictures and images of adult elected legislators being, you know, shepherded to a hotel and protected from being poached, I mean, there cannot be a more tragic commentary for Indian politics. I agree with Mrs. Sarangi, yes, this is politics, this is a real politics, call it what you might. But the truth is, it looks repugnant. It is political ethics at its lowest ebb. It also tells you that much as we do this chest thumping, we are the world's greatest, largest democracy, blah, blah, we are still a work in progress. These are manifestations of a banana republic. Let's accept that. And I want to make just one point. I agree that you should try and win. I also agree that the Congress and other parties have been guilty of similar acquisitions. But where the BJP has been different, and Mr. Sarangi can respond to this, is the ruthlessness and the scale of this Sam Dam Dand Bhed politics. I think, you know, when you take it to such a crude level, and I call it like creating a stock exchange for
Right.
MLAs buying and selling. I live in Mumbai. Why doesn't the BJP simply put a value of a stock, do an IPO, let there be buyout, sell out, mergers, acquisitions? I mean,
Okay.
we have made this into a farce, in my opinion.